Developing news tonight, the wife of the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs allegedly shot and wounded by the couple's son. She's now hospitalized in stable condition. Their son is now under arrest.
Well, the wife of Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator Mia Bieniemy was shot inside her home last night.
And late this afternoon, we learned that her 27-year-old son Elijah is the one now facing charges in the case.
No, 7:30 at night, we get a call, domestic disturbance here, and that a victim had been shot. And this was Mia that had made the call. We get there, and Elijah was there with his girlfriend inside the house, and we went ahead and investigated it, found that the shots have been fired, we believe, from him.
She's a saint. You know, we all know that, the people that know her. One of God's good blessings right there now. Really special person. So, but things happen, and you got to work through it. And so that's where we're at right now. And
A quiet Sunday evening, a peaceful neighborhood outside the nation's capital, and then, in an instant, gunfire inside a family home. A 57-year-old woman is found bleeding, shot multiple times, in the house where she should have been safest. The person accused of pulling the trigger is not a stranger who broke in through a window. Police say it was her own son. This is the story of Mia Bieniemy, wife of Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator Mia Bieniemy, and the night her family's world was torn apart from the inside. Before we go any further, we want to be clear about something. As of this recording, the man accused in this case has only been charged. He has not been convicted of anything, and under the law he is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. What we are about to walk you through is based on verified reporting from outlets including ESPN, CBS News, NBC Washington, and Fox affiliates covering the Washington metro area, along with statements from the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office. We are going to lay out exactly what has been confirmed, what remains unknown, and where this case stands right now. If stories like this matter to you, stories that refuse to look away from the hardest parts of families in crisis, go ahead and subscribe now, because we are going to be following this case closely as it develops in the courtroom in the weeks ahead. Let's start with who Mia Bieniemy actually is, because in the swirl of headlines about football and famous last names, it can be easy to forget there is a real woman at the center of this story, fighting for her recovery right now in a hospital bed. Mia Bieniemy is 57 years old. For years, she has been known within the world of professional football simply as Mia Bieniemy's wife, the steady presence standing beside one of the National Football League's most respected offensive minds. Mia Bieniemy's coaching career has taken his family across the country and back again. He spent seasons as offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs from 2018 through 2022, helping build one of the most explosive offenses in the league during that stretch. He then moved to the Washington Commanders, serving as their offensive coordinator and assistant head coach during the 2023 season. This year, he returned to Kansas City to rejoin the Chiefs' coaching staff, a homecoming of sorts for a family that had already put down roots in more than one city. Even after the family's time in Washington ended, they kept their home in Ashburn, Virginia, a suburb just outside the nation's capital. That home on North Park Drive was more than just a piece of real estate. It represented a chapter of the family's life, a place they returned to, a place that likely still held friendships, routines, and memories from their years in the region. Those who know the family describe Mia in warm terms. Kansas City Chiefs head coach Andy Reid, someone who has worked alongside Mia for years, publicly referred to Mia as a saint, the kind of description that speaks to a quiet reputation for kindness built over many years within the tight-knit football community. She raised a family alongside a husband whose career demanded long hours, constant travel, and the kind of pressure that comes with coaching in the National Football League. Behind almost every coach's success story is a partner holding the rest of life together, and by all accounts, that was Mia's role in this family for a very long time. Now let's walk through what happened on the night everything changed. It was Sunday, July 26, 2026, a summer evening outside Washington, D.C., the kind of night where families are often winding down, maybe finishing dinner, maybe watching television, settling into the quiet rhythm of the end of a weekend. At approximately 7:32 in the evening, the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office received a call reporting a shooting at a home in the 20,000 block of North Park Drive in Ashburn. According to Sheriff Mike Chapman, it was Mia herself who made that emergency call. Think about that for a moment. A woman who had just been shot multiple times found the strength and the presence of mind to reach for a phone and call for help. Deputies raced to the scene. Neighbors reported hearing gunfire just before the chaos began, describing a couple of distinct shots ringing out through what is normally a peaceful residential street. One neighbor later told reporters they felt fortunate to live in what they believed was a safe neighborhood, saying they were relieved at how quickly law enforcement arrived. Another neighbor described looking out a window, seeing the lights and the commotion outside, and stepping out to witness what she called complete chaos unfolding just steps from her own front door. Cell phone and doorbell camera footage capturing the immediate aftermath began circulating within hours. One neighbor's Ring camera recorded law enforcement officers carrying a person from the property. Other video, shared with local news station 7 News, showed deputies moving quickly through the neighborhood, at least one carrying a rifle, working to secure the area and block off streets with their cruisers before entering the home. When deputies arrived and located the victim, they found an adult woman suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. She was rushed to a nearby hospital with what officials described as serious injuries. According to the criminal complaint later filed in the case, Mia Bieniemy had been shot twice in the upper body. She underwent surgery, and according to that same complaint, a portion of a projectile remained lodged in her body even after the procedure. These are the kinds of clinical, painful details that remind us this was not a distant headline. This was a mother fighting for her life on an operating table while her family scrambled to reach her side. Sheriff Chapman later addressed reporters, choosing his words carefully. He confirmed she had been shot multiple times and said investigators still needed to determine exactly where everyone was in the home, what each person did, what prompted the shooting, and how the entire event unfolded. It was a statement that acknowledged how much remained unknown, even as the physical facts of the shooting itself had already come into focus. Now let's talk about the person accused of pulling the trigger and what we know, and importantly, do not yet know about why. Authorities identified the suspect as Elijah Zion Bieniemy, 27 years old, of Ashburn, Virginia. He is the son of Eric and Mia Bieniemy. Sheriff Chapman confirmed this relationship directly to reporters, removing any ambiguity about the connection between the accused and the victim. Elijah was taken into custody in connection with the shooting and booked into the Loudoun County Adult Detention Center. He now faces 3 separate felony charges. The first is malicious wounding, a serious charge under Virginia law that applies when someone intentionally causes bodily injury to another person with the intent to maim, disfigure, disable, or kill them. The second charge is use of a firearm in the commission of a felony, an additional charge that attaches specifically to the use of a weapon during the underlying criminal act. The third charge is discharge of a firearm inside a dwelling, a charge that reflects the fact that this shooting took place inside the family home itself, not in some external or public location. Elijah Bieniemy is currently being held without bond at the Loudoun County Adult Detention Center. That detail alone tells us something about how seriously the courts are treating this case in its earliest stages. A judge determined that he should not be released while the case moves forward, a decision that reflects both the severity of the charges and the nature of the allegations against him. So what actually caused this? What could possibly lead a 27-year-old man to allegedly turn a gun on his own mother inside their family home? As of this recording, that is the single biggest unanswered question in this entire case, and we want to be very careful here, because speculation in cases like this can cause real harm to real people who are already suffering. Investigators have not released a confirmed motive. Sheriff's Office officials, when directly asked by reporters, did not share what, if anything, they know about a possible motive, nor did they confirm whether deputies had ever been called to that home before this incident. What we do know, based on Sheriff Chapman's own statement, is that there had been no previous incidents reported at that residence. On paper, at least in terms of official police records, this appeared to be a home with no prior history of violence or domestic disturbance calls. That detail matters because it means whatever happened on that Sunday night did not follow an obvious, documented pattern of escalating conflict, at least not one that had ever reached the level of a police report. It raises painful, difficult questions that a family, a community, and eventually a courtroom will have to sit with. Was there a private struggle happening inside that home that never made it onto any official record? Was this a sudden, isolated break from a peaceful family life, or the culmination of tension that had simply never been reported to authorities before? These are the kinds of questions that toxicology reports, mental health evaluations, witness interviews, and courtroom testimony may eventually help answer, but right now, they remain open. What we can tell you is how the football world responded almost immediately. Eric Bieniemy was hundreds of miles away when this happened, at Kansas City Chiefs training camp in St. Joseph, Missouri, preparing for the upcoming season alongside his coaching staff and players. According to ESPN, as soon as word reached the organization, Eric left training camp to be with his family. As of this recording, there is no confirmed timetable for when, or if, he will return to the team during this early stretch of the season. The Chiefs organization released a brief public statement, acknowledging they were aware of the incident involving Eric Bieniemy's family, but stating that out of respect for the family's privacy, they would not be offering further comment at that time. It was head coach Andy Reid who spoke more directly to reporters at a press conference. Reid expressed that the entire organization's hearts and thoughts were with the Bieniemy family during this incredibly difficult moment. He acknowledged he could not speak to the specific details of what happened, but said that sometimes painful things happen in life, and that Eric would work through this with the support of both his team and his family. Reid confirmed that Mia was in stable condition, which he called a genuine positive amid an otherwise devastating situation. He also referenced someone identified as Eric Jr. as being stable as well, though full details about that individual's connection to the events of that night have not been widely reported. Reid's comments about Mia herself echoed what so many others close to the family have said, describing her warmly as someone widely respected and cared for within their circle. Now let's talk about where this case currently stands and what happens next. As of the most recent updates, Mia Bieniemy remains hospitalized, though she has been reported to be in stable condition following her surgery. That in itself is being treated as a small but significant piece of good news in an otherwise heartbreaking situation. A woman who was shot multiple times inside her own home survived long enough to call for help herself, survived the surgery that followed, and is now, at least for the moment, considered stable. On the legal side, the case is still in its earliest stages. Court records show that an arraignment, originally scheduled for the Monday following the shooting, was continued, meaning it was postponed to a later date. The next confirmed court date on record is a preliminary hearing scheduled for August 31st at 10 in the morning. As of the most recent reporting, a public defender is listed as Elijah Bieniemy's attorney in online court records, suggesting he has not yet retained private legal counsel, though that could certainly change as the case progresses. The Loudoun County Sheriff's Office has stated clearly that the investigation remains active and ongoing. They have emphasized that there is no continuing threat to the broader public, an important reassurance for a neighborhood that watched armed deputies move through their streets on a quiet Sunday night. At the same time, investigators have made a public appeal, asking anyone with relevant information about the shooting to come forward. They have provided a direct line for tips through the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office, and for those who wish to remain anonymous, a separate line through Loudoun County Crime Solvers, along with the option to submit information through the Sheriff's Office mobile app. We want to take a moment here to acknowledge how strange and painful this kind of story is to sit with. This is not a case involving a masked intruder or a random act of violence from a stranger. According to the charges filed, this is a case where a mother was allegedly shot by her own son inside the home that was supposed to represent safety, family, and connection. Whatever led to that moment, whatever pain, conflict, or crisis was unfolding behind closed doors, it ended with one of the most painful kinds of violence there is, violence within a family played out in public view because of who this family happens to be. We do not yet know the full story here. We may not know it for months. Possibly not until this case reaches trial and evidence is presented in open court. What we do know is that a family that has spent years in the public eye through football is now navigating an intensely private tragedy in front of the entire country. Eric Bieniemy has to figure out how to support his wife through her physical recovery while also confronting the reality that his own son stands accused of causing her injuries. There is no coaching playbook for something like that. There is no press conference talking point that makes something like this easier to carry. As this story continues to develop, we will bring you verified updates as they become available, directly from credible reporting and official statements from the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office and the court system. We are not interested in speculation for the sake of clicks. We are interested in telling this story honestly as the facts actually unfold. We want to ask you something before we close out today's video. What do you think really happened inside that home on North Park Drive? Do you think this was a sudden, isolated incident? Or do you think there is a longer story here that simply never surfaced until now? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, respectfully, and please remember that real people, a mother fighting to recover, and a family trying to hold itself together, are living through every part of this story in real time. If you want to stay updated as new details emerge in this case, make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on, because we will be back with updates the moment credible new information becomes available. To Mia Bieniemy, we hope for your continued recovery and for peace for your family during what must be an unimaginably difficult time. No family should have to carry a burden like this one, and no mother should ever have to fight for her life inside the home she built for the people she loves. Do you believe justice will be served in this case? Let us know in the comments, and thank you, as always, for watching.